The House of Representatives tonight voting yes on a temporary bill to fund all of the Department of Homeland Security, including ICE and Customs and Border Protection. But there is still no end in sight to the partial government shutdown. And that's because the House bill is likely dead on arrival in the Senate, according to Democrats. A GOP aide telling NBC News that Senate Majority Leader John Thune has no plans to recall senators from Easter recess, saying there's really no realistic way to pass the House bill in the chamber. And earlier today, House Republicans declined to take up a funding bill passed by the Senate that would have funded the TSA. As you know, that agency has been hit so hard by the DHS funding halt that came into effect 42 days ago now. On top of missed paychecks, hundreds of officers have quit. Thousands have called out sick. It has disrupted air travel across the country, with security lines around the block causing extreme frustration at the airports. Joining me now on the phone is NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona. Hey, Mel, so tell me, what's the headline here tonight, and what does this mean for these TSA workers who've now gone over a month without pay?
Well, Jessica, the big headline here is that both the House and the Senate have now left for a 2-week recess and Easter break without opening the Department of Homeland Security. This means that there's going to be likely a prolonged government shutdown for this critical agency. And the House did just pass their own version to try to reopen the Department of Homeland Security, but included funding for ICE and Customs and Border and Protection. Those are things that Democrats have had very big issues with. They said those are non-starters. And so that's why it's dead on arrival in the Senate. The Senate Democratic leadership has already made clear that that's going nowhere in the Senate. And even Republicans in the Senate have said that they are very skeptical about this House-passed plan because they've been at this now for almost 6 weeks with Democrats trying to negotiate reforms to ICE. They weren't able to come to an agreement. So ultimately what they decided on late last night was to pass this Senate bill that does not include funding for ICE or Customs and Border Protection. Instead, they were going to address that in a party line bill just among Republicans. But Republicans in the House, they rejected that idea, decided to forge ahead with their own plan, despite knowing that this was going to go nowhere in the Senate, despite the fact that the Senate had already left for their break. And so at this point, we are nowhere closer to really solving this funding crisis. But to answer your question about what this means for TSA workers, now the president did sign an executive order today instructing the DHS to pay TSA agents. So what they're going to do is move some money around. There's an existing pot of money for ICE that was actually approved in the big, beautiful bill last summer by Republicans. They're going to use some of that money to try to pay TSA agents. So we are told that they could get a paycheck as soon as Monday. But in terms of whether this is going to clear up the chaos at airports, that might take a little time before we start seeing some relief. And then this does not solve the larger problem, which is that there are still many, many other government workers who work for DHS who are not getting a paycheck. It's not just TSA at the DHS. There are people who work for the Coast Guard, people who work for FEMA, people who process immigration visas. And so that is not a long-term solution. Really what it's going to take is Congress coming together, passing a deal, and
as you said at the beginning of your report now, they're going on a 2-week break. So whatever has come to a halt, stay halt for the next 2 weeks. You also mentioned the president ordering that the TSA agents be paid perhaps starting Monday. Will that definitely happen, or could that face legal challenges?
Well, there could be legal challenges. There is some precedent for Trump doing this. If you recall, during the last historic shutdown in the fall, he did move money around in order to pay the military. But no one challenged it in court, despite the fact that there were some legal questions surrounding that. I think the optics of challenging that in court might be difficult for some people.
Right.
But there is still this big question of just how quickly these TSA workers will start seeing the benefits. They might get their paychecks on Monday, but they also need to get all their back pay for all these other weeks that they didn't work, or they didn't get a paycheck while working. And also, there's this broader problem in the TSA right now, which is the retention problem, because at least 500 TSA officers have actually quit the job altogether, just given the turmoil that they've experienced being a government worker, having experienced now 2 shutdowns. And so there is this longer-term retention problem, and that could have some really long-term impacts on the operations of the TSA.
And Melanie, as you've been talking about this, we have been watching some of those super long lines that is causing so much chaos at the airports, causing millions to miss their flights. We know TSA agents have actually started GoFundMe accounts so they can pay for some of their basic needs. Mel Zanona, thanks so much for your great reporting tonight. That does it for this breaking news report. We have more coverage ahead on your local NBC station, our streaming channel, NBC News Now, and online at NBCnews.com. And of course, we'll have much more tomorrow morning on Weekend Today. I'm Jessica Layton in New York. Thanks for watching. Now back to regular programming.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.